Hello
Hello
there.
there.
Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli,
I'm Jacob.
and this is a crazy number, 49 of Star Wars in a Galaxy. Um, we're coming up on 50, and I'm going to put another notice out there on Twitter. Send us stuff, emails and trivia and 6 degrees and questions and all of that stuff. We want to do as much as that as we can on our 50th episode. Yeah, but today we have our 49th episode, and we're cruising along in season 3 and 2 a little bit because chronology of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. We are going to be reviewing the episodes Heroes on Both Sides, Pursuit of Peace, and Senate Murders. Before we do that, though, it's been a while since new viewable Star Wars content has come out, but we have gotten not one, but 2 this week. Before we get into those, I'd just like to quickly say, very happy May the 4th be with you. We hope everyone had a great Star Wars day. We hope everyone enjoyed the 70 minutes of Star Wars content we got on Star Wars Day, which was... It's just mind-blowing to me that we got a 70-minute premiere episode on Star Wars Day. That's awesome. Jacob has seen Aftermath, but not Cut and Run yet. I've seen both, so Jacob and I will do a quick review of Aftermath, the first episode of The Bad Batch, and then I'll do a quick review of Cut and Run. Go ahead. You want to start with your thoughts on Aftermath very quickly?
Yeah, man, Aftermath. I was mixed on this episode. I definitely not as hyped as some other people are getting. But nevertheless, I really liked yeah, I thought I liked Aftermath. I thought the beginning was the best part of the episode. You know, that Order 66 scene with Kanan and everything was just man, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. Also that definitely pretty hard hitting moment. I just loved the way it was so unexpected, you know, just the commander dips out of the frame for a couple of seconds, you see the hologram, and then boom, it is on. Or I guess rather it's over for Depabalaba, but it's on for Kanan because he's gonna run away. Besides that, you know, pretty good. I thought it was pretty predictable what happened with Crosshair. From the very beginning with Kanan, he was kind of moving away from the others in terms of what he wanted to do. With that being said, though, I didn't think that was too much of a detriment to the episode, and I guess that we have to talk about Omega. A lot of people really love Omega. I don't really love her, but I don't hate her either. I think she's a bit confusing to me. Why is she there? I think that I guess it is a bit of a purposeful mystery, but it is still something that was kind of a head scratcher when I was watching it. But maybe that's the point. I was a little bit afraid that she might be too much of a baby Yoda and just be baby Yoda 2.0, and that's what I don't want to have happen. With like, oh, the small person, small child, very precious, the big tough men who don't want to show emotions have to learn to take care of this child, and they are acting tough even though they secretly want to. So hopefully it isn't too much of a copy of that, but I don't really think that that's going to be an issue. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty solid start, and I am excited to see where the series is going to go from there. I don't see a ton of upside at the moment, but I'm definitely looking forward to see what's going to happen next for sure. How about you, Eli?
While my thoughts probably skew a little bit more positively than yours, not much, honestly. I was a little bit confused by people saying that this episode was the second coming of Anakin Skywalker. It was good. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought that people are complaining about the whole Kanan sequence because it lightly retcons the Kanan comic, which I think is just such a non-issue that I think it's
Yeah.
kind of silly. In my opinion, at least. Of course, people are allowed to have their own opinions. I think that, you know, yeah, one of my biggest problems with the first episode was honestly that it was just felt like it was becoming too similar to The Mandalorian, and a little bit to Rebels, honestly. Um, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna like towards the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, they're gonna get on that ship and fly away, just in the nick of time, right? And then that's what they did. And then I'm like, oh, they're gonna jump into hyperspace with some vague idea of where we're going, and we're gonna do a whole Mandalorian thing, right? And then they
Yeah.
jumped into hyperspace. I'm like,
With some vague idea of, I know. It was quite predictable.
That's fine. That's cool. I will say, I'm not going to spoil anything from the second episode. I will say, I think the predictability of the episodes from here on out will decrease significantly.
I hope so.
I think I think from episode 3 and on, I think the predictability will go down. Yeah, I'm one of those people who absolutely loves Omega. I think she is adorable. And I'm like, going in, I'm like, okay, what's this deal with this Omega girl? And then I saw her for an episode. I'm like, okay, I will do anything to protect this young girl. I will do anything. Yeah, she's incredible. And yeah, I knew due to leaks and stuff that Crosshair was gonna turn, unfortunately. I did like how they did it though. I thought the amplification of the inhibitor chip was a really interesting idea. So now that Jacob's gone, let me talk about Cut and Run, which is honestly beautiful. To be completely honest with you, Cut and Run was incredible. It was a little bit predictable, sure. Yeah, but we got to see Cut LaQuain again, and like nothing's gonna top the Deserter for me. But getting to see Cut and Sue and Shea and Jack was just like so incredible to me. Omega's seeing dirt for the first time, reacting like Rey did. I never knew there was this much green in the entire galaxy. Was magical. This whole idea of chain codes connecting a little bit with Mando is really cool. And I love that we had like the first 2 episodes of Mando in the first one, and then we had the second 2, the third and fourth in the second one, so that we can really speed along and get to some actual adventures that the Bad Batch is having with Omega, deciding to keep her after all, which is just so sweet. Really, I just love this episode, and I'm excited for more.
Heroes on both sides. This was a very interesting episode. So, in the beginning of the episode, we start off a classic big rowdy Senate debate. You know, lots of senators going at it. They some of these senators really want to pass a bill that will deregulate the banks so that they can get more clone troopers and try and win the war. Now Padmé is strongly debating against this, and she's one of the main opponents of the bill. So we cut to some of these senators, along with a banking clan official, plotting to assassinate Padmé. However, Padmé, Anakin, and Ahsoka are having a discussion as well, and they get into a little bit, or I guess Padmé and Anakin get into a little bit of a spat, and Anakin sends Ahsoka to learn about politics with Padmé. So they decide to try and end the war. They're going to secretly travel to Raxus, the planet where the Separatist government is headquartered, to meet with Mina, or maybe is it Raxus?
It's Raxus.
Yeah, it's Raxus. Okay. Raxus Prime. Okay. They go to Raxus Prime. They want to meet with Padmé's old friend, the Separatist Senator Mina Bonteri. Ahsoka also meets Lux Bonteri for the first time. And eventually, Mina and Padmé decide that they are both going to introduce motions in their respective legislative bodies to try to open negotiations, sue for peace, and end the war. However, when Padmé returns to Coruscant and convenes a vote on the motion, General Grievous, who has sent bomb droids disguised as cleaning droids to Coruscant, commands those droids to knock out the power to the Senate building and a bunch of Coruscant by blowing up a reactor. Obviously, this scares a lot of senators. They get super pissed off, and then they decide, you know what, we're not having it. We're not suing for peace, and then they pass the bill. And that is that. It's a very good episode.
Yeah,
a lot to get into.
Okay. Here we go. Our fortune cookie is: fear is a great motivator.
You want to share your thoughts first, or should I?
Here's what I'm noticing now, because I watched Heroes on Both Sides in a session, and then I watched Pursuit of Peace and Senate Murders in another session, and I just realized Heroes on Both Sides and Pursuit of Peace both have the idea of fear in their fortune cookies, and Pursuit of Peace and Senate Murders both have the idea of truth. So it's clear to me that truth and fear, those two concepts, and how they play back and forth with each other, are going to be the two main motivating thematic forces in this arc. Yeah, I didn't really like... of the many thematic ideas in this episode, I don't really think one of them is the fortune cookie. Like, you know, I think this is an episode which is better than its fortune cookie, which we've seen a lot. I wasn't really thrilled with this fortune cookie, but that's fine, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a bit of, it's true, and it does definitely apply to this episode in terms of the senators. You know, they're motivated to keep the war going through fear of the separatists, fear of attack. That's why they keep legislating for more money and more troops, and to funnel more money towards the war. But I think they really could have picked something better for this episode. Like maybe fear divides people, hope unites them, or something along those lines. So yeah, I really just thought it was a missed opportunity, and they could have picked, they could have put together a much cooler fortune cookie. But I think that it is definitely applicable here nonetheless. You know, the Separatists and the Republic, they're very, very afraid of one another. That motivates them to keep fighting. Lux is kind of hateful and afraid of the Jedi. And Ahsoka sees that all at the beginning. She kind of thinks all the Separatists are evil, and that's because of fear. And also, I think it's also a little bit of Palpatine's fear of losing power that motivates him to do the awful things that he does.
So the idea is that they want to deregulate the banks, and I want to get into this idea of bank deregulation, which is basically just all these restrictions we set up on banks. Yeah, they're all just going away. Which, you know, the idea of bank deregulation for me symbolizes how far gone the Republic is already. The idea that they're even like, yes, they're in a war, but like they're considering just giving all of this power, this corporate power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're basically just giving up. They're giving up a lot of oversight.
Yeah, which seems like not great.
It's an interesting decision to say the least. It's
yeah.
I don't want to get too into it because it's sort of political, but from my point of view, it's a questionable decision, and
from my point of view, the Jedi. What the hell? Sorry,
I promise I won't get all political. 2 drinks later, Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic. The democracy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with I love democracy. I love the Republic.
Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty funny because Palpatine had his hands all over this episode.
Oh yeah, no.
But yeah, I think it's pretty funny also, and I think it's definitely on purpose that they wrote this episode to have the 2 people that were front and center arguing for the bill be a Nemoidian who is presumably associated with the Trade Federation, and a Kaminoan whose government presumably stands to make billions of credits or whatever the Kaminoan monetary unit is if this bill is passed, which would like it's Hallie, right? Or Senator
Hallie
Hallie
Burtoni.
Hallie Burtoni. In this episode, doesn't I'm pretty sure Hallie Burtoni says something like I move for 5 million new clone troopers or something like
Yep.
that is oh my gosh, like they only had 1 million well on the way in Attack of the Clones. That's so much money that's getting funneled to
That's
them.
getting where exactly? The Kaminoans.
Yeah, so I think
there's a line in Senate Murders, which we'll get to later, which Bale accuses Burtoni of because you're our main infantry source in the war, you managed to barter your way into a Senate seat, which was so telling for me.
I think that just shows kind of the corruption and the opportunism also. Just kind of saying let's grab as much power as we can.
Here's something I'm interested in. These cries of like the whole more war, those cries, the cries of more war, they remind me of something. I can't exactly put my finger on it. I don't know what it is. These arms dealers make all their fortunes selling to the bad guys and the good. It's all machine, partner. Good guys, bad guys, they're all the same. Live free.
Same.
Don't join.
I mean,
it's and there is a literal line I wrote down that legislation would have meant billions for us.
That like they can't make it. I mean, this episode does kind of hit the nail on a head in a couple places, but overall I think they're definitely saying, hey, check this out, check this out, look at this corruption, you see this corruption? That was definitely the vibe I was getting from this. And then we have, of course, after the opening debate, yet another plot to assassinate Padmé. I think one of the lines in there also that I really like was oh gosh, it was the Nemoidian senator. I can't remember exactly. Is it Lot Dodd or is it someone else?
It's probably Lot Dodd.
Yeah, it might be. Let's just say it's Lot Dodd.
Yeah.
Someone says Lot Dodd says we are the Trade Federation. We're about business, not violence. But in this case our business is violence. Yeah. That was just the best. That was the best line to me. I found that was hilarious. I was tickled pink by that. I'm not gonna lie.
I also love this one too. An argument that Padmé plays to in all three of these episodes, but starts in this one is, forget fiscal responsibility, talk about moral responsibility. I'm like, Padmé, if you're talking to an immoral Senate, talking about moral responsibility will get you absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, she's such an idealist, but I think what she's playing to is that there are kind of three groups of senators. There are senators like Bail Organa and Padmé and Anaconda Farr, who are really genuinely trying to do the right thing. And then there are other senators. I can't think of any named characters that would be like this, but presumably there are a lot of senators who are quite corrupt or who are very corrupt, do have a lot of corporate interests, are a little bit detached from their people, but who still think that they're doing the right thing. Like, who's the senator from Ryloth?
Orn Frita.
Yeah, like Orn Frita.
No, that's not. Orn Frita is the third group.
No. The way he talks, I feel like he thinks he's trying to do the right thing. Well, Orn Frita or not, there's that group. And then there's the third group, which is like Hallie Burtoni, where they're just totally off the chain, super corrupt, and they know it and they don't care. And they're going to do whatever they can to circumvent democracy. I think Padmé is really, obviously the first group is very small, as we can see. But I think Padmé is really trying to cater to the second group here. And I think
And I don't know how many systems
That's where
there
his
are in a
speeches come in.
galaxy, and I don't know how many systems there are in the galaxy that have Senate representation. But I think Padmé's group is small. I don't think it's tiny, because there's one plot point that makes me think it's not tiny. You know what I'm talking about, right? The delegation of 2,000.
Yeah, the delegation of 2,000. But again,
Yeah,
I don't want
2,000.
to. I don't think it's safe to assume even that all 2,000 or even the majority are necessarily so not corrupt and kind of pure as Bale and Padmé
and also look how
are made out to be. Like maybe maybe some of them are group 2.
Big the Senate is. Even if all 2,000 are like that, probably means there's like, you know, hundreds of thousands of. But then again, they're talking about getting 6 votes, and then I'm like, wait, really? You're counting? Anyway.
Yeah, I mean.
Either way, yeah. Here's another thing. I forget who says this one. They're talking about perhaps if we were to open diplomacy, to the Separatists, you can't negotiate with those animals. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
Yeah, it really shows. I think it really. Yeah, I think that just really shows how entrenched everyone is in their beliefs, and again how fearful they are. You know, they see each other. You know, as we will find out. You know, the separatists see the Republic as barbaric. The Republic sees the separatists as they both see each other as barbaric and evil. You know, so I think it's no wonder that we have people who are just like, no, of course we're not going to negotiate. Like
and by the way,
because the assumption is that they're only going to respond to violence.
Let's point out something. The Republic thinks the Separatists are barbaric, and they're right. The Separatists believe the Republic is barbaric,
and they're right.
They're right.
That's the thing, and we'll touch on that later. But there are some pretty funny moments where we get maybe it's heroes on both sides, and maybe it's some not so nice people on both sides too. Maybe there's some not so nice things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are being done.
Let's talk about another thing that Lot Dodd says. Senator Amidala is the problem.
She is the problem, man. She's the problem for all these bad guys. Oh my gosh.
She is, but do I recall? I specifically remember in the sequence that Bail Organa speaks up against the corrupt forces twice as much as Senator Amidala is. I mean, Senator Amidala is certainly a problem, but Lot Dodd's obsessed.
They're all obsessed though. After what happened on Naboo, I think they've got a reason to be obsessed. You know, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say they've definitely taken a few humiliating losses at her hands before, so I don't entirely blame them for being a little bit fixated.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, they also mentioned that Coruscant has not been attacked in over 1,000 years. So now I want to see the last time Coruscant's been attacked, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that would have been during the Darth Bane era.
Right there. That's a Disney Plus limited series.
They got to do something with that, man.
They got to do something.
They gotta adapt Darth Bane to canon. That would be, man. Yeah. If we got, I mean, we already know that Darth Bane, just as a figure, is canon, but we don't really know much details. If
other than Hamill Bane, which is good, but is one episode.
Yeah, that's one episode. But I mean, Hamill Bane's awesome. Yeah,
Hamill Bane's incredible. If we get Mark Hamill regularly voicing Bane,
that would be hilarious. He voices one of the greatest heroes and one of the greatest villains of the Star Wars continuum. I would love that.
Ironic. There's this is a rough paraphrasing I wrote down in my notes of what happened. Anakin, help me convince the council to convince Palpatine to choose peace over war. That's not my role, Padme.
Yeah, I mean,
Anakin, do you hear yourself? I was there one movie ago when Mace Windu calmly told Palpatine, We are keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
But I think yeah, I think it's interesting that he's so invested politically in maintaining the war and wanting to crush the separatists and victory or like all or nothing, victory or death. My point is it's interesting that it's almost seems to be more about the conflict, and it shows how the Jedi have stopped being peacekeepers because he's interested in he's really interested in the Republic maintaining the war, and in that political way, he's really into it. And yet at the same time, he's also all, oh, I don't want to get all political when they start talking about with Padme about peace. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I assume he's not trying to be too pro-war because he also expresses like, a lot of his whole emo shtick. Oh, I wish the war would be over. I wish we could be together, Padme. So I don't know. Just a thought.
There's a line that Ahsoka says, all I heard about is banking regulations, almost nothing about why we're fighting in the first place. Ahsoka, to me, just mentioned one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, of the prequel trilogy. The Phantom Menace, in my opinion, is the only one of the prequels where I could tell you easily, right off the bat, what the heroes are fighting for.
Yeah.
Like,
what about Attack of the Clones, for example? Because I think in Revenge of the Sith it's by design, but what about Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones too. There's this like what I said in my notes. Also, I love this. It's convenient that the Separatists keep subjugating worlds so the Jedi can free them. It's Nigeria, Mon Calamari, Onderon. Yeah. I mean, I guess in that first case it's actually Kiros, but anyway, the Separatists. This is something Anakin says. The Separatists believe the Republic is corrupt. Okay, but they're wrong, and we have to restore order.
That's so dogmatic. That's exactly the line I was referring to.
What? I don't follow the logic here. The Separatists, first of all, aren't wrong. The Republic is corrupt. But even if the Republic is, why do the Jedi and the Republic feel the need to fight the Republic? To fight the Separatists? Frankly, why does either side feel the need to attack either side?
I mean,
I understand why the Separatists want to leave the Republic. I don't understand why, A, they want to fight the Republic, and B, the Republic has such a problem with them leaving.
Okay, because I think there's a couple things. I think you bring up a good point, but first of all, obviously Palpatine, he wants there to be a war. He needs there to be a war, but what they think, I think the Separatists think, we've shown our hand. Now we have to battle it out, because if we try and negotiate, then if we end up getting reincorporated, or if we try and negotiate peacefully, the Republic's still much stronger and is still probably the majority in terms of population. So we still will probably get walked all over if we get reincorporated into the Republic, even if we can try and negotiate for some of the things that we wanted. And then obviously the Republic is thinking, or what I assume the Republic is thinking is just 2,000 systems have left, however many. Tens of thousands of systems are joining Dooku's cause. That's the crawl in episode 2, I believe, says something like that. It really represents a threat to the Republic. It represents a threat to their sovereignty and to their stability. Although you could argue that even before the Clone Wars, the Republic was kind of built on it had become a house of cards, essentially, with how much corruption there really was. The Separatists didn't have a mandate in leaving the Republic. They were doing illegal things. So yeah, I think from their perspective, it was just illegal and illegitimate. And I think even in this episode, we hear one of the senators say, this is illegitimate. we can't meet with the Separatists, and we won't because we don't want to legitimize them. So I think
Yeah.
that definitely
That's what Padmé says as to why they cannot meet with anyone.
Yeah.
From the Separatists. So Padmé gets the bright idea of taking Ahsoka with her, and using her status as a Jedi to speak with her Separatist aligned friend, Senator Mina Bonteri. We later find out that Senator Bonteri is representing the planet of Onderon. And yeah, one of my favorite things is when Ahsoka asks Padmé, "You have a Separatist friend?"
Yeah.
And pairing that with when Ahsoka meets meets Bonteri, "You're a Separatist?" Well, of course, dear. What were you expecting?
Yeah, I love that part. That's great.
It's such an interesting. The entire conversation between Lux and Ahsoka. Let's leave the sexual tension by the wayside for a second. The entire conversation between them is so fascinating because, you know, as Ahsoka points out to Lux, she's the first Jedi that Lux has ever met.
Yeah.
And that Lux and Mina are the first Separatist civilians that Ahsoka has met.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
And that really, when you look at it, the Republic and the Separatists aren't that different. They're made to think they are, but they really aren't that different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, definitely. I think they both, yeah, they just disagree on, they can't see eye to eye, obviously. They kind of see the same problems, but they have the opposite ideas of the solutions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's really cool. I love Mina Bonteri in this episode.
It's her only episode.
Yeah, it is her only episode, kind of sadly, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I kind of like, I like the hopefulness that they portray, and I think it's really profound how she still wants to talk to Ahsoka, and she's friendly to Ahsoka, and she wants to reach out to Ahsoka and Padmé, even after what happened to her husband, where her husband was killed in a Republic attack. You know?
Yeah, that entire
That's great.
conversation about her husband being killed in a Republic attack is so interesting because we're seeing the clones as villains.
Yeah.
Which is utterly just like it's really so it's such an expansive idea to see
we don't really oh, sorry, go ahead.
To see that not everyone sees the clones as heroic.
Yeah, and I think definitely, and that's something we don't really get to see again outside of Commander Fox maybe kind of unjustly killing Fives. We don't really see that again until Order 66, and even then it's, you know, are they really the villains? Like, they're kind of, possibly, but they're kind of forced to do what they do, and their free will is taken away to an extent.
You know, this might be one of my, this might be me being selfish and wanting a continuation of the Deserter. I almost wish they brought Rex with them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would have been.
Just think about it. A soldier who is literally bred to fight for the Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Might have known the clones who killed Lux's father on Argonar.
Yeah, that's honestly that would be amazing. Or if it was like, oh my God, that was my unit. That how you're right. How crazy would that be?
That would be incredible. We gotta talk about this incredible joke. One of my favorite jokes in the entire series. You're being used for a very you have been selected for a very special mission. Some of you may not return. Actually,
None of
none of
you.
you will return. But don't let that get in your way.
Wow,
How has this
Grievous.
not become a bigger meme?
Wow, great motivational speech. I agree, you know. Way to inspire trust and loyalty in your followers. That was a real morale booster. But
Jacob,
I guess Grievous fails to see the irony in any of what he said.
Jacob, Rogue One writers to Rogue One crew. Some of you may not survive. Actually,
Actually, none
none
of
of
you
you
will
will survive.
survive. Yo, you
But
should
don't
really
let that
make
get
that,
in your way.
bro. You got to make that into a meme and post that
Wait,
everywhere. That
wait,
is
wait, wait,
that is
wait, wait, wait,
hilarious.
wait. Um, uh, Lawrence Kasdan and John Kasdan to every new solo character not named Kira or Enfys Nest. Some of you may not survive. Actually, none of you will survive. But don't let that get in your way.
Yeah,
I could go J.J. Abrams to all existing Skywalkers at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. Some of you may not survive. Actually, none of you will survive. But don't let that get in your way.
yeah,
You get my point.
yeah. And I mean, so you see, yeah, we have the assembly, the cleaning droids start their infiltration. Ooh, Commander Fox. This is where this is where he upsets me. I can't lie. This gets on my nerves, man. Yeah, he sees them going the wrong way, and he's just like, "Hey, the power
That's
generators
Fox.
are that way." Yeah, that's Fox. Yeah, you see the Coruscant Guard logo on his chest, and he's got the commander's outfit and everything. That's definitely
Bum
Fox.
bum bum.
I know. My thoughts. My thoughts
Whoops.
exactly. My
Yeah.
thoughts exactly. But yeah, so it's Palpatine is so slyly manipulative in this. You know, he does that great Palpatine thing, his signature move of the oh man, I kind of agree with you, insert person that I am going to try to assassinate later, but I just don't know if that's possible. I'll try my best. You know, he's like, oh man, I wish we could pass this bill to stop the war. Oh man, I wish I didn't have to spend more money, you know. He does that so well with
It's the
the whole
grandfather thing.
aftermath.
Oh, I wish I didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the circumstances.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's just I love democracy. Yeah.
It pains me to do this, but I promise once this war is over, all of my powers will be abated. I
Yeah.
love the Republic. I love democracy. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I also love this is a fun line. So I want to actually ask you about that separatist council meeting, which is the only one we ever get in the series.
Yeah.
The
The
separatist
only one.
senate meeting. Why are Padmé and Ahsoka there?
I feel like at least I feel like Padme would get recognized, right? Like
One of them's an enemy of state. No, wait. Both of them are enemies of the state.
they're extremely wanted, both of them. Like at this point, Ahsoka's already wreaked havoc on the Separatists in so many ways. She is, oh my gosh,
Sorry.
like
So that was a dumb move. I also love this. I also love this. There's a quote from one of the separatist senators. Unlike the Republic, corporations do not rule us.
oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh,
I'm like,
that was
look.
just
I'm
the
like,
best line.
look. Corporations get Senate seats in the Republic, but corporations are put on the ruling council of the Separatists.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it would be easy just to interpret this as the writers trying to put some irony on the separatists. But honestly, I think this really should be interpreted just to show how much the corporations have gotten to both the separatists and the Republic, because I think clearly, as we see, especially in these episodes, both sides think that the other is completely controlled by corporate interests and they're pure, when in reality, obviously, the separatist alliance was started by a bunch of different corporate leaders just saying, okay, yeah, let's do this. Meanwhile, the Republic gives corporations Senate seats, and they are also very, very heavily controlled by a vested interests. Kamino, obviously, as we saw, the banks, the banking clan obviously wields huge power. The Republic's in massive debt to the banking clan. And then even other companies like Kuat Drive Yards, for example, like you can just imagine that what with all the war expenses that the Republic has been racking up, someone's gonna be using that debt.
That's all I have for this episode.
Yeah. What did you think overall?
I thought it was the best one of all of these, honestly.
Yeah. Same. I really liked it. I thought it was really clever. The way they kind of took some digs at both the separatists and the Republic in terms of corruption. And I was kind of marred by I think we kind of glossed over this, but yeah, the whole Ahsoka Lux moments where they were kind of hinting at their budding romantic tension. I don't know. That part was just
It's not
weird.
a huge part of the episode.
Yeah,
You can
but
ignore
it's really
it if you
not,
want
so
to.
I could ignore it. But yeah, overall, this was a great episode. I didn't really have any trivia.
In Pursuit of Peace, Padmé, Bail, and Anaconda Far, and Mon Mothma, try to derail a bill that's going to be pushed through the Republic, to purchase an additional 5 million clone troopers. In the episode, many members of the Senate, including staunchly against military expansion, members like Anaconda, Far, and Bail Organa, get attacked by thugs hired by Dooku to scare them off. At the end of the day, even as Padmé is getting ready to deliver what was going to be Bail Organa's speech before he got gravely injured and couldn't give the speech. The speech is a powerful one that Padmé gives, and it convinces many, but before it can be voted on, a tragedy stops it in its path, that we'll get to next episode. Fortune cookie is, truth can strike down the specter of fear.
I think this is very true, especially for this episode. A lot of fear comes from ignorance, fear mongering, misinformation. Obviously, in your Palpatine, it's like, we need this, we need that, we need clones, we need tanks, we need ships, we need money. Who knows what could happen? And I think it's kind of similar to the real world. Politicians using fear to advance their agendas, fear of the unknown. And I think, yeah, I really like it. I think it's a good fortune cookie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Yeah. So I wanted to address something that's in my notes, and also you mentioned when we were talking about the last episode, Heroes on Both Sides, which is who makes the recommendation to purchase 5 million more clone troopers? It's Senator Burtoni, literally from Kamino. And no one calls BS about this. Hey guys, so you're losing this war. Maybe give us some more money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I think it's a bit funny how both these two episodes, they both begin with an opening debate. And this debate, I think, is even more heated than the last. And of course, Burtoni's in there again, messing things up as she always does. I really felt like the writers had Iraq and the Bush era on their minds when they wrote this, with everyone talking about like they're not like, hey, if you're not with us, you're against us. You're being unpatriotic. I think they said some version of the word patriotism quite a few times.
One of my favorite things is after the bombing of the generator, Palpatine says, "We have received a message from Count Dooku." But he doesn't just call him Count Dooku. What does he call Dooku? Our opponent.
Our opponent Dooku. I mean, opponent. That's an interesting word. They could have said enemy,
It is
but
interesting. It's
opponent.
almost like the war is not really a war, and it's more of a game. It's like a game to Palpatine. Oh wait,
Oh wait, it is.
it's
He's
literally
totally
a
just.
chess game where Palpatine is playing himself. This is why I love the Clone Wars, because Palpatine says Dooku is our opponent, not our enemy, not the leader of the Separatists. Our opponent. We hear from Dooku that Republic operatives have killed Mina Bonteri, so she's gone.
Yes.
Except for whoops, we find out from Bail Organa, who somehow knows this and somehow didn't tell Padmé before, that Dooku's thugs murdered Bonteri.
Yeah.
You know what I gotta wonder?
What?
I gotta wonder if Mina, who was so positive on Dooku last episode, I wonder if she was still convinced when the thugs attacked her of Dooku's innocence.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think she kind of. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Anyway, so I love it. Hey, you attacked us. No. You attacked us. I love this fascinating game of chicken, basically, that they're playing. So this is an interesting idea brought up mostly in this episode, which is the idea that the Republic is so obsessed with the war that everything else is falling by the wayside. Palpatine's gotten them so singularly obsessed with the war that I imagine the war is what some senators eat, sleep, and dream about.
They eat, sleep, and dream about it. Yes.
Yeah.
Very well put. Very well put.
And,
I agree.
And anything about peace, anything other than the war or security,
they're not hearing it.
It's not that they're not hearing it, it's that they've been conditioned to put it to the side. For all the Separatists' fault, they do see that the Republic is almost entirely too focused on how they look versus who they are. There's that line from Yoda in at the end of Lair of Grievous. In this war, a danger there is of losing who we are. And that's what often happens to many in the war. We can talk about the obvious examples, like Anakin Skywalker, but we can also talk about people, like I mentioned, live free, don't join, who are profiteering about the war and have just no sense of self. Padmé tells that one of the banking clan, "You live on Coruscant. Aren't you afraid too?" And the Moon is like, "No, because I know I'm protected no matter which side wins."
Yeah, I think something that also was another one of those moments in these two episodes that made me chuckle a little bit. In terms of showcasing, as I think these episodes really try to do, showcasing the corruption of the Republic, where you have this banking clan executive in this meeting openly bragging about loaning money to the Separatists in front of like Republic senators who are also representing a Republic, who's also taking money from the banking clan. It's incredible.
So I want to talk about this speech at the very end of the episode, because it's a speech, man. It is a speech.
Oh, it is.
as
It
much as
is.
we
It
talk,
is such a speech.
as much as Jacob and I complain about how much the Clone Wars builds up Padme and never actually has her do anything,
This is one
she
moment where that
finally
is.
does something.
Yeah, she really earns her keep in
Yeah.
this in this moment.
My favorite part of that, let's just talk about the beginning of the speech, which, although I love the speech in general, she goes, Tekla me now. And then everyone starts muttering. I like, if I said, if I began a speech, Rachel Davidson. And everyone just started muttering. I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I didn't even say anything.
Yeah. So wait, so who's Tekla me now in this? I was confused by it.
Tekla is her aide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That I mean, that's definitely a very powerful rhetorical tool. Saying like, oh
Yeah.
look, real world, look at this person, real world person. Here they are. They're suffering because of stuff that
Yeah.
we've done. But yeah, really amazing speech. Very
in
inspiring.
many, yeah, it's about who we're fighting for. It's about, it's about how Jedi choose to win from rebels. It's
Yeah.
about what else could it be about? It might be, I've heard somebody talk about saving what you love instead of fighting what you hate. Bit familiar. Don't know if you know it.
I do.
Slaps car.
I'm
This
very
bad boy
acquainted.
has so much symbolism. Anyway, so as I was watching the episode, I was thinking to myself about a discussion we've had many a time on In a Galaxy, which is that Palpatine's greatest threat in the prequel trilogy is Padme Amidala.
We really see why right here.
And then you get a line. Isn't it remarkable that one can have all the power in the galaxy, and yet the words of a single senator can sway the thoughts of millions?
I mean, he just about hits the nail on the head. That is really why because despite all his kind of hard power and his legislative clout, Padme still just has so much influence and is using that in a way that is, despite her being pretty benevolent, it's so threatening to him that he just can't abide it.
Anakin's journey and the Republic's journey in the prequel trilogy and prequel trilogy affiliated materials are fascinating to me. They're basically the same thing, because you see how effective Padme is when she really works at it, at convincing the minds of the Republic. You also see her effect on Anakin, who, when he isn't viewing her as like basically a safety blanket, you can see that one of the only reasons that Anakin didn't fall to the dark side sooner was because Padme was there.
Oh my gosh, and we completely glossed over also the fact that all these senators were getting beaten up. That was pretty crazy. I mean, yeah, except for one thing, which I think, well, this is a bit of a callback to our roots here on In a Galaxy. One of the assassins that was sent after the various senators was a Selkath. Yes, a species that hitherto was only seen in Knights of the Old Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
So yeah, it's Selkath season, already, baby.
Check out Star Wars In a Galaxy, Episode 6, Law and Order, Selkath Unit.
I'm so glad you came up with that title. Every time I'm reminded that title exists, I'm so happy.
I was pretty impressed with myself. Not gonna lie. Fortune cookie. Searching for the truth is easy. Accepting the truth is hard.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think they could have come up with something a little bit better, but I think what they're trying to say, where it's like it morally or kind of, I guess, in terms of inner conflict, in terms of emotion, sometimes it can be easier to try and find what you're looking for than it can be to actually find it, because that can be difficult. You might find something, as they do here, they find something that yeah, Padme finds something that she probably would rather have not known. Maybe that's a weird way of maybe that's a weird way of putting it, but yeah, she definitely finds something that is pretty jarring and heartbreaking for her.
There's a sense of there's that line, there's that very famous line, Jacob, you know this line as good as anyone. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father. No! What is the first thing Vader says after Luke screams no?
Search your feelings? You know it to be true?
Search your feelings.
Yeah, there we go.
You know it to be true. Why was that so hard for Luke? What? Because searching for the truth is easy and accepting the truth is hard.
Yeah.
That's why that line has so much weight, because if Luke searched his feelings, he would find that, yeah, Darth Vader is his father. You know, if Rey searched her feelings in the sequel trilogy, she would find that you're a Palpatine or something. I know. The list goes on with these incredible truth findings that looking is easy, but dealing with it is hard. Yeah. So, here's some more Senator Burtoni stuff, where she just intrudes upon a private meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. That man, she is a real piece of work in it.
Diplomacy failed the Republic long ago. Do you realize the hypocrisy in this?
I mean, there's a lot of ways in which she is hypocritical.
That specific line.
But yeah.
Remember that the first time that there was real true Kaminoan contact with the Republic was when Obi-Wan visited in Attack of the Clones. And presumably the Kaminoans got a senator shortly after the events of Attack of the Clones. That means that Burtoni has been in the Republic for approximately 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Diplomacy failed the Republic long ago. And how would you know that? You haven't been here you haven't exactly been here that long.
I mean, assumably she could find a history book or two, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. She's
it's a little
speaking like she has experience when she clearly doesn't.
But Senator Dici, I thought that was interesting.
He's also a dick.
He is also a dick, but why would he go? I don't understand why he just went up to Padme and, like, was he trying to threaten her? Because he just kind of showed his hand. That's all he did when he was like, "You're unpatriotic."
I honestly think it was a narrative thing. I think this episode has a lot of things I don't agree with, but I think one of the things they're doing in this episode is that they don't want to have the true suspect be figured out until exactly when the characters figure it out.
Yeah, and it definitely worked the first time I saw it, at least.
So they have to plant Dici and Burtoni as these highly believable suspects. One of the things I find so weird about Inspector Divo is that he's an asshole. And I get characters being assholes in the Star Wars galaxy, but when being an asshole in your situation directly works against the thing you're trying to accomplish, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not the best.
You know how it is with politicians. Oh, look who I'm talking to. Room full of politicians.
Oh my gosh, that guy. The inspector. I can't remember his name. The inspector.
Tandivo.
Inspector Tandivo. What is up with that guy? He's interesting.
I feel like going into like Jerry Seinfeld. What is up with Tandivo?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's simultaneously.
I mean, what is up with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he is simultaneously like a grouch, but then he's also sort of just the naive kind of bureaucrat.
I also would
It's
like
hard
to
to tell
point
where he
out
stands.
the hilariously meta line. But I already have my theory, and I'll follow my hunch if you don't mind. Star Wars fans going into The Last Jedi. So I'll handle the inspecting, and you can stick to the senating.
Yes, and well, what happens? Let's just say they don't stick to the senating. Yeah, and it really seems for a while, like the first time I watched, I really thought it was Burtoni, but they I guess they do a really good job of faking us out, because it's not Burtoni. It's actually Lolo. Is that her name?
Lolo Purrs.
Can't remember.
Yes.
Lolo Purrs, and she is a senator or some sort of politician.
She's Anno's aide. She's Anaconda's aide.
So somehow Anaconda Far, because she blames him for bringing Rhodia into the war. I think it's a little short-sighted of her personally. Not only the fact that kids murder is short-sighted, but yeah, I don't really think it's justified to blame him. Of what little we've seen of him so far.
She seems like she went crazy, honestly.
Yeah, because like Anaconda Far literally turned in Padmé to the Separatists to try and keep Rhodia neutral. I don't think he's the one to blame for Rhodia getting involved in the war. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me.
And what everyone else recognizes is that Anaconda made a mistake, and he made a mistake not just because of himself, but because the Republic wasn't showing ample attention that was needed for Rhodia.
Yeah, same as they were for many planets. And I think that again,
it's not the thing that happened in Bombad Jedi wasn't inherently on Anaconda Far's part, but it does show how nobody's actions are pure black and white. You know that, like, you know, Luke destroys the Death Star and kills millions of people.
Yeah.
But like you know, the Death Star was going to destroy the Rebel base and also kill like millions of people.
Yeah. And also, it would indirectly kill more people because the rebellion wouldn't be able to help stop the Empire. So, you know.
Yeah.
I mean.
But he still killed people.
Yeah, he still killed people.
What is your ranking these 3 episodes?
I think my ranking exactly mirrors how much time we spent talking about each episode. I think, obviously, my favorite episode is going to have to be Heroes on Both Sides. Love that one. Then Pursuit of Peace. And then finally, Senate Murders. I don't even think Senate Murders was bad. I thought it was a pretty good episode, but I just thought the others were that much better. So overall, a really good batch.
I have the exact same thoughts as you. I wasn't as positive about Senate Murders as you were.
Yeah. You didn't do it for you?
It just seemed a bit like the entire episode seemed a little bit goofy, honestly.
Yeah, I can see that, to be honest.
But that's fine. You know, we're getting into some good episodes. We're getting into some interesting episodes.
Yeah, we really are.
I think it's time. I think it's time for everyone's favorite part: the Star Wars in a Galaxy.
What you've brought me today is worth 1/4 portion.
All right, 1/4 portion, and today
we have one of our favorite segments of 1/4 portion, and that is the beloved 6 Degrees of Star Wars, where we have to connect 2 Star Wars characters within 6 degrees of interaction. You love it. We love it.
Let's get to it.
Let's do this thing.
All right, do you want to go first, or should I?
You go first with your first one.
All right. You know, I wanted to make this one a little bit more relevant to what's happening right now at Star Wars. So could you connect in 6 steps or less for me, please, Eli? Grogu and Omega.
Omega. Omega.
I'm Omega.
Omega.
Everyone says Omega except for her. I'm Omega.
My favorite part is Hunter, Tick, Rika.
Rika.
She's so adorable. She's
Crosshair. Crosshair.
Crosshair.
Yeah.
I'm missing one. Echo.
Echo. I don't really know. Echo. I don't know.
Grogu, and Omega.
Echo. Yeah.
Grogu, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Hunter, Omega. Done.
Anakin Skywalker, Hunter, Omega. Yeah, nice.
Or
nicely done.
Or if we want to be like really weird, let's talk about two freedom fighters who were initially thought of to be the bad guys in their respective arcs, but are actually the good guys.
Ooh, all right.
Enfys Nest and Crismo Sodi.
Can you remind me who Crismo Sodi is again? I don't recognize that name off the top of my head.
Well, let's talk about the incredible Season 4 Star Wars The Clone Wars episode, Bounty, in which Asajj Ventress teams up with a bunch of bounty hunters on the planet of Quartzite to transfer precious cargo on a train.
All right, I know who Crismo Sodi is now. Okay.
You know.
See, Crismo Sodi with Enfys Nest. Oh, okay, I got this. Okay, Crismo Sodi, Asajj Ventress, Boba Fett. Wait.
You could cut a step.
Crismo Sodi, Boba Fett.
There we go.
Yeah, Crismo Sodi, Boba Fett. What's on the other end? Who am I going to again? Sorry, I just blanked. Boba Fett, Han Solo, Enfys Nest.
There we go. I mentally connected it in my head. I'm like, oh, man, shit.
I gotta rewatch Solo. I haven't watched Solo in ages. You see that ship over there? I got about 20 armed goons in there.
30 hired guns.
30 hired guns.
You're surrounded.
Bro, I still can't believe that the same person who gave us Troy and Community and Childish Gambino also gave us Young Lando. Donald Glover. That's incredible. All right. My number 2. Here we go. Could you connect for me, please? 2 big bad bounty hunters, Cad Bane and Ochi of Bastoon.
Well, Ochi's not a bounty hunter.
He's not?
He's a Sith hunter.
He's like an assassin.
I admire your effort connecting somebody I love so much to somebody I hate so much.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Yeah, that's like the two. Okay, look, that's the two extremes. But in my defense, in Star Wars, bounty hunters are often pretty much indistinguishable from assassins.
Yeah, but like here's the only difference before I connect them. Cad Bane has no allegiance. Ochi has a clear allegiance.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Ochi, Palpatine, Cad Bane.
Oh man, I forgot about the Palpatine link. Oh,
to both of them because
yeah, I know.
City's talking over the hologram.
Yeah.
Or even if we want to do this with actual meeting in person, Crisis on Naboo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it works either way. It works either way.
To quote a very famous Star Wars quote, somehow Palpatine returned. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about an Imperial higher up and a First Order / Final Order higher up.
All right.
Orson Krennic. Enric Pride.
Pride and Krennic. Admiral Pride. Wait. Pride,
oh my God.
Pride. So wait. Admiral Pride. Okay, can you remind me? I can't. Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on who Pride is right now. First Order, sequel trilogy, which movie?
Rise of
Skywalker.
I just realized.
Is he the dude who shoots Hux?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I just realized something.
Pride.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. You can connect this also in one step.
Well, I'll figure it out because I don't know I don't know exactly what you're. Did he talk to? I don't think he talked to Palpatine though. If that's what you're getting at, he did. Okay.
Princess of Alderaan has disrupted my plans.
Okay.
It's Palpatine all over again.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Palpatine. Pride, Palpatine, Vader, Krennic. Or you could go probably directly.
Krennic.
On screen though? I wasn't sure actually, so I put Vader just in case.
So I looked it up.
Okay.
Let me show you what I found.
Thrawn meets Krennic, Tarkin, and Emperor Palpatine. A new excerpt from Thrawn Treason. Man, I read Thrawn Treason. What's the matter with me?
I did too.
I forgot, man. I honestly haven't read Thrawn Treason since it immediately released. So it's been a while, and you know, at a certain point, there's only so much Star Wars my noggin can handle at once, you know.
That's gonna be it for this episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. If you enjoy listening, you can subscribe to us on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts and Anchor and everywhere you listen to your podcasts. We'll be there. If we're not, let us know. Follow us on Twitter at InAGalaxyPod, Instagram at Star Wars in a Galaxy. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Star Wars in a Galaxy on YouTube. Email us, swinagalaxy@gmail.com. Please do that. We're looking for questions and trivia and hot takes for episode 50 of Star Wars in a Galaxy next week. Speaking of that 50, Nifty 50, that episode is going to be 3 really weird and innovative episodes of the Clone Wars. We are talking Night Sisters, Monster, and Witches of the Mist, which are going to be 3 crazy episodes. Yeah. In the meantime, I guess all there is left to say is may the Force be with you. Always.